Hey guys, it's Denny here from Angel Handmade Papercraft. Today I am working with Whimsy stamps Don't Pick Elf by Krista Heij-Barber. It is a red rubber stamp. I've cut it all out so that I don't get ink everywhere, and this is a stamped look of the image. I'm using Copic markers today. I'm just showing you here. I was actually going to use that marker and then I realized that the marker is all shiny and yuck, so the tip actually needs to be either replaced or cleaned. So I will be doing that and not using that marker after that little bit that I did do. So now I am working my way through. I'm using a different skin tone than what I normally do today, just because one of my markers needs a refill and I haven't had a chance to do it yet. So I'm using a little bit darker. I'm going E11, E13, E15, and then I need a darker pink for the cheeks, so I'm going R21 on the cheeks. So just working my way through the colours here. Today I am working from darkest to lightest. I jump between the both. It doesn't really matter too much which way you go, as long as you're happy with your colouring. So I've done the E15 and the E13, and now I'm going back through with the E11 to blend all that marker out. I'm a little bit short of breath today. My asthma's playing up again, so you have to excuse my heavy breathing through this video recording. So just popping in the R20 for the cheeks. Now he is wearing full clothing from neck down, so that was the only skin that I needed to colour in on this one. So now I am using my red markers. I'm going R05, R35, R37 and R39. So here I am just laying in the lightest colour, which is the R05. Just working on his hat to start with. I did actually take a little bit of inspiration from the image that was used on the Whimsy Stamps shop page for this one. I just changed up the colour of the present. Just trying to work out which bits are which. So that was the R05, and now I am working on the darkest. So I'm going normally it doesn't make sense. So normally I do lay down the lightest colour first, and then I go from darkest to lightest. Like I said, sometimes I change it up. So that's what I've done today. So I'm going R39, then I'm going back through to my R37, then I'll go my R35 and then back to the R05. Okay, now I'm going in and doing the white area. So today I'm using T3, T0, and the 0 colourless blender just to blend those out. So I'm doing that on all of the white areas of his hat. And now onto his pants, doing the same thing, T3, T0 and 0 colourless blender. Alright, so now I'm going to start on my G area. So I'm actually only using 2 markers on the G areas. I'm using G43 and G46. So I was having a little bit of trouble blending. I think there really should have been another colour in between these 2 markers. So it took me a little bit longer to get those blended together. But I'm just starting with the G43. Then I'm moving on to the G46. Sorry guys, my husband just decided to call while I was in the middle of a voiceover. Always the way it happens. My fault, I should know better than recording on his way home from work. Alright, so I'm just working my way through the green areas. Working. So I'm just laying down a coat of the lightest colour first, just to make it that little bit easier to blend it. Knowing that I had a little bit of difficulty with the top of his hat, just like I said, it just feels like there should be another colour in between the two. So I'm just adding in all of the areas that I believe should have shadows. And then just pulling all that colour out and blending it all in together. Just had to work at it just a little bit more than what I normally would. Now working on his little boots, using the greens again for those. Just fixing up, I just went out there, I thought that was part of the boot, but it wasn't. So I'm just blending it back out again. Now I'm going in with the G46, adding in the darkest of the colours, and back with the G43 to blend that out. Okay, now I'm going back with my G markers to do my G markers, sorry guys, my R markers to work on the present. I'm using the red for the bow of the present, or the ribbon. So I'm just laying down the lightest of the colours, and then I'll go back through darkest to lightest and blend them out. When I coloured up the second and third bookmarks, I actually didn't do the red until after I had done the present, because it did bleed a little bit. So I learnt my lesson and I didn't do it the second and third time. So I'm just adding in the darkest colours, and then I'll go through my colours and blend it all out. So down to the R37, pulling all that colour out. As you can see on the top of my hand there, I've got a little square there. I was just practicing with the green markers to make sure that it was the right tone that I was looking for. I just didn't move it back off screen again. So working my way back through with the R05. Now I think at this stage I was looking for my gold blends. So I'm going with the YR21, YR23, YR24 and YR27. So first just laying down the YR21 marker, and then I'll work my way down from darkest to lightest. Just doing my best there on those small areas to make sure that I only got it where I needed it to go. So now I'm going in, I've done my YR27, now working on the YR24. Then I'll go down to the YR23 and then back to the YR21. I don't always use this many when I'm doing a gold blend, just depends on what I'm working on. So then back to the YR21 to blend all that together. Just doing the belt buckle at the same time as well. I'm going to give him a black belt. And realizing that I forgot the little bell on the top of his hat, or on the end of his hat I should say, and I will realize later on that I did miss the bells on his shoes as well, so I'll colour those as well. So just adding in the shadow underneath his feet, I'm using the W1, W4, and then I'm going in with the Zero Colors blender to blend all that out. This is where I realized that I hadn't done the shoes, so I'm going to do those now. I didn't use all of the colors because obviously they were so small. And lastly, we need to do his belt. And then I'll work on his hair. So I'm using C8 and C10 for his belt. Starting with the C10, and then I'm just using the C8 to pull that colour out. Just realised that I didn't do his the collar on his outfit and just the cuffs on his shirt. So I'm just on his gloves, I should say. So just fixing those up, and it did bleed a tiny bit, so I'm just fixing up his arm there. So now I'll go in to do his hair. I'm using, what am I doing? E55 and E59. So I'm just adding a few flicks of the E59 first. Quick blend with the E55, and that's it. Wasn't a lot of hair, so it wasn't a lot that I had to work with. And now I'm moving on to making my project. So I'm starting with the gift tag for the first one. So I'm just using the My Favorite Things stitched traditional tag stacks. Sorry guys, didn't look to make sure that I was on screen, but I still wanted you guys to see what I was doing. So I had some sentiment there, so that's what I'm just measuring to make sure it's going to fit across the bottom. So I'm using the My Favorite Things Peaceful Words Dynamics. Just running that through my Sizzix Big Shot to cut it out. And now I did run my sentiment through the Xyron 1.5 inch sticker maker, and now I'm just adding on some Nouveau crystal drops in the Morning Dew and Red Berry, and I did also use a green, which I didn't like. I used the bottle green. So this was an effort and a half. I messed up one of them up the top there. I ended up messing one of the bottom ones as well. So I'm just trying to work out a way that I can cover that up without it looking too silly. This is why you should always put it aside as soon as you finish. But of course I was doing 1,000,001 things. So now I'm just adding some more drops on in different colours. Just tapping them out to make sure that they go into the dome shape that I was after. And I had to scrape another one off because I messed it up. I can't help myself, seriously. Every time I touch Nouveau crystal drops, I bump them. Every time. And yes, I did just smudge that top green one, which actually wasn't too bad, so I didn't worry about it too much. So I'm just using a single hand punch to punch a little hole in the top of it. Yes, the Nouveau drops are still wet. And then I'm going to put my twine through, and I'm going to touch the twine to that red one up the top corner. Whoops! I thought I'd leave all the little bloopers in though, so you guys can see I'm not the most perfect crafter. Most of the time it's the Nouveau drops because I cannot wait for things to dry before I finish things. The twine that I use there is actually called Whimsy Farm Twine, and it's called Tabitha. So I've just pulled some of that through, and then I'm going to add some silver twine to the top to create a little bow. So here is where I'm just not being careful enough, and when I'm trying to do the bow, I bump that little red one again. Oh, there we go, straight in, yep. Deary me. Trying to do a second bow, not realizing, and I screwed that up. So I'll do that again after I fix this one, and had to use a baby wipe to pull all the red off the twine. Just cutting those tails off the bow. Showing you guys here the finished project. Woo, all done. And then I'm going to work on my bookmarks. So that was the gift tag. I actually hadn't planned on doing the bookmarks at this stage. And I didn't record them because I just wanted to do them as an add-on. So this is the end result of all of those. They look fantastic, and I thank you guys for stopping by. See ya!